It's time to admit the Big Ten is better than the SEC. Now, for someone that has never seen this page, you may say, well, that's a lukewarm take. I already believe that the Big Ten is better than the SEC. And I hear you. I really do. But if you follow my TikTok, maybe you follow my YouTube, maybe you've been following this page for a while, you know I have been SEC FC for quite a long time. Now, let me explain why I was SEC Pro being the best conference in college football. I thought the SEC, though didn't have the top end talent like in Ohio State, like in Michigan back in a couple years ago, in Indiana, I thought the SEC had the depth. And frankly, I still believe they do, but the reality has become this, that the Big Ten this past season not only has been able to scale in terms of recruiting and talent acquisition, but also talent retainment, which has become a big thing, especially in 2026. They've been able to scale in recruiting. They've been able to build out a tier two because it wasn't for the fact that they had the national champions, because I think that's such a dumb way of looking at things to say this team has won the national championship for this conference, so they're the best. And I get it. It's been 3 different national champions with Michigan, Ohio State, and Indiana. That is a better argument than just saying, well, the team that won the national championship was a part of this conference, so therefore they're the best conference of college football. That's not how I look at it. It's a complete picture. Do I think the bottom teams in the SEC and the Big Ten, who's better? It's the SEC. Do I think the tier 2 in the SEC is deeper and more talented than the tier 2 in the Big Ten? Yes, but it's so much closer than it once was. Because as I really started to write it down, the Big Ten has the recent success. They've closed the gap, and some people may argue has the better talent acquisition. And I think the talent development and retainment of that talent goes to the Big Ten. And you have the clearly better tier 1, because who is the tier 1 in the SEC nowadays? That's an honest question. Is it Georgia? The same Georgia that, yes, has been able to win that conference, but gets smacked around as soon as they enter the college football playoff for the past couple of years? If we want to live off the merit of the early 2020s, sure, but we're on a rolling scale here. We've gone 3 straight years where it's been just Big Ten dominance. I got to live with those results at the end of the day. And now the Big Ten's been able to build out a tier 2. And that tier 2, to me, I'll actually give you the tier 1 just for clarity's sake. The tier 1 for the Big Ten is Oregon, Ohio State, and Indiana. Then we get to the tier 2, which is Michigan, USC, Penn State, Iowa, Washington, and Illinois. That's a pretty damn good tier 2. And I think, in my opinion, they really hadn't had that much depth. There were some teams that definitely had jumped in, maybe have dropped out. I think USC has stepped up. Washington has continued to develop with Jed Fish. I think Iowa has always been a consistent tier 2, but some people had argued they're the best tier 2. Now I don't believe that's the case. I think, honestly, for the sake of the argument, Penn State dropping from tier 1 to tier 2 has bolstered this area. And then Illinois has grown to be a consistent threat as well. Do I still feel the same way in terms of top to bottom? The top team in the SEC could lose to the bottom team. I don't feel that with the Big Ten. But then again, we get into the same conversation where I think the SEC has a ton of tier 2 programs, a ton of them. It's damn near half the conference, but no one's really elite. No one has taken the firm grasp of the wheel of the conference. Once again, you can make the argument for Georgia because they've won it back-to-back years, which has been impressive in their own right. But Texas, especially this past season, was expected to be that team in the SEC. Then they didn't even make the conference championship. Alabama has been in flux ever since Nick Saban left. Kirby Smart has been one constant, but they haven't been this elite version of themselves to the same comparison of an Indiana, Oregon, or Ohio State. A&M has grown to be very good, but they're a strong tier 2 team. We all agree to that. Same could be said for Oklahoma, Ole Miss, and all these different teams. They're all strong tier 2s. LSU, a strong tier 2 as of right now. Now, is there a ton of potential for them to be able to match the tier 1? And then we're right back in the conversation of which conference is better. Absolutely. Texas has the upside in the talent acquisition and the coaching in everything and all the ingredients that you could be looking for a tier one SEC team. When you think of one, you know exactly what you're going to get. Same thing could be said for Georgia. They still have the best coach in all of college football in the talent acquisition and all the resources. Alabama, same thing can be said for them. A&M, someone could step up, but they need multiple teams to do so. The same way I was saying that the Big Ten needed multiple teams to step up in the tier two to really bolster the 18 team conference from top to bottom. And I just don't think the SEC, if the gap is shortening on both sides of the coin in terms of the talent acquisition and retainment and the development, if that's getting closer, the tier two gap is getting closer. And then you have the top end success and the accolades. And the only real argument that the SEC still has is maybe they still have the edge in the talent acquisition, and maybe they still have the edge from not having the worst teams. I just don't think that's enough legs to stand on to say one conference is better than the other when you have national championships of 3 straight seasons from 3 different programs on one side of the coin. You pair that with the tier 2 being closer to yours, the big top end teams, and everything baked in on that side. I have to say the Big Ten's the best conference of college football. I think from top to bottom, as the building blocks of a program, they are checking every single box that we used to apply to the SEC. I can't be stubborn. I can't be Paul Feinbaum. I can't just be blindly saying that the blue and yellow and white logo, that just is the best in football. Do think it still means more here, and there's another level of passion and home environments with the SEC? Of course. You don't understand it till you get into the South. That's not to say you can't find it at Michigan and Ohio State, but it is a different level. The saying, it just means more. I do agree to that, but it doesn't mean it's better. It doesn't mean that it's outright going to be better every single time. There's still so much work to be done. And I think it's only going to get more and more nasty with the 9-game SEC schedule, to be honest with you, especially with the one bye. Especially with the one bye. Oh, I cannot wait for it. It's going to be so toxic. And truthfully, I don't think a lot of people are ready for those conversations. I'm going to be so transparent with you.